Thank you, and hello again, readers. I'm delighted to be joined today again by Richard Roberts, Director and Head of Investor Relations at Oxford Capital. What I wanted to do now is Richard and Oxford Capital have been very heavily involved in sort of pioneering some thought leadership around actually mindfulness, particularly in this time of COVID when everyone has been through the mill and faced some really sort of struggling, difficult times. I think sometimes we forget that entrepreneurs and those heading up investee companies, really do need to be supported in some way. They can't just be left to do everything as usual. Richard, perhaps rather me go on your topic, perhaps do you want to just introduce yourself again and maybe just talk to me, give me a little bit of an introduction into Oxford Capital and what your thoughts are on this thing.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Richard Roberts. I head up the investor relations team at Oxford Capital. Oxford Capital are a privately owned investment management company. We've been going for approximately 20 years and have invested about £450 million into a variety of early stage companies using the EIS investment scheme. We have offices in Oxford and London. One of the key sort of principles of what we do as investors is really look to support founders. And I think the key misconception with VC investing often is just that it's all about money. And money is obviously critical for getting small businesses started and getting them off the ground, and so on. But actually, supporting founders is equally important. If a business is going to succeed, it needs strong founders who are motivated and focused at delivering their business plans and their business models. The thing is, it's not a straight line event. Starting up a business is very, very challenging. And succeeding with a funding round is just the start of anybody's journey. Actually delivering the plan and executing off the back of it is very challenging. So supporting people with more than just money is really what we're about as an investment house.
Okay. How has this impacted you? How you work with your founders and your own portfolio. Really, what have you done? Talk us through what does that mean? What you've just outlined.
Yeah. So we obviously work closely with founders that we invest into. We sit on the board of the majority of companies that we have within the portfolio. We help them both on a strategic and operational basis to help build out their companies. We help them with best practice guidelines around sort of ESG, governance, and so on, and really take the learnings that other companies that are doing well within the portfolio and applying them across the board. What we have found, though, especially, and it's been really accentuated over the last 12 months, the isolation and the mental health around some of our founders has been put under increasing pressure. And I'm sure that the majority of people who are listening to this today will have really felt that in their own personal lives, never mind trying to do it as a startup company. So actually supporting founders, and ensuring that we can provide them with both the emotional support as well as input for running their businesses is really key to building long-term successful businesses.
Okay, I can understand the benefits there about why that's going to help any business in its own right. If you've got the leaders in that, and specifically the entrepreneurs in smaller businesses sort of heading up, sort of if they're in a good mental place, obviously, in difficult times, that's obviously going to benefit. Can you give us without naming names or being too specific, but just tell us practically, how does that look? What have you done? How have you worked with clients?
Yeah, so it's not an isolated activity. I think this is more of a consistent style. So when we've done research within our portfolio, and this is much wider, but a high percentage of founders have continually reported that running a business has affected their mental health. They felt the pressure and expectations of having investors coming in and how their businesses are performing. Common sort of feedback is that this has been one of the most difficult periods of time that they've ever had to endure. So being good partners and being good partners for the long term. We're long-term investors within our portfolio, so supporting them, on a day-to-day basis as needed is much more of a consistent methodology rather than just coming in with here's a solution. We will help them provide tools to help them run their business, how to build better teams, to remove the reliance on the founder as an individual, and actually how can they build a fantastic team around them to help build their business and their vision. So we're aware that founders are under huge amounts of pressure to deliver. It's been increasingly more accentuated with COVID, and we're really strong supporters of making sure that they get through this and build successful businesses, both for themselves but also for our investors.
Fantastic. That's really good. What about then in terms of our readers, advisors? How does this relate to potentially how some of the challenges that our own readers, our advisors, are sort of facing in running their own businesses?
Yeah. So without doubt, everybody who's listening to this will have felt the impact of lockdowns across the last 12 months. When you look at advisors and wealth managers up and down the country, they'll have been impacted by the changes that they'll have had to make to their own businesses. How have they adapted to going digital? Have they actually been able to transition their business to become fully digital? Are they small practices who are also isolated? There's a great deal of common theme from technology companies that we're supporting, both with money and our internal support, but the advisors can actually relate to some of that, because if they are small companies that are building and maintaining client bases and have had to adapt, they're probably feeling some of the real key pressures that our founders are feeling, and actually that gives them a much greater insight into some of the challenges of running early stage businesses. And we're really keen to support both our investee companies, but also our investors and our advisors through that journey.
Thank you, Richard. That makes a lot of sense. And could you just summarize for us, the whole ethos and thought process behind this for us?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, what we're looking to do is support, our founders and our CEOs through this difficult time, and really help them know that, the key things are that they're not alone doing this. The feelings and the emotions that they're having are not unique to them. I think by sharing some of the experiences that our other founders are feeling and learning from that, it's a really key way to build resilience. So we've developed what can be called a sort of 7 pillars that we can use to help build resilience, and share those with our founders. So they can be summarized as regular exercise for building willpower, healthy eating to develop energy, keep energy levels high, getting enough sleep, which I think is a challenge for lots of people, but that really gives people patience. When we can get back to meeting friends and family, that's a really core tenet for keeping everybody happy, building happiness. Occasionally solitude, but not in the too distant future, for clarity, getting clear thoughts and being able to self-reflect. Keeping training and developing your personal skills for continue your skill set and knowledge, and actually taking some time off to gain some perspective and reflect on what's been going on. The temptation is to work harder, to work through results, and actually taking a step back to reflect is often valuable. So we try and use these sort of 7 pillars as a way of helping people build resilience and get some clarity on what they're doing.
Thank you for that, Richard. I think that's those 7 pillars are lessons we can all learn from. I think we should all probably have a little look at and reflect on. So, well, look, thank you ever so much for joining us and for sharing those thoughts with us. I'm sure that will be of use to our readers, and great to know that support mechanism is also in place for the investee companies. That can only benefit everyone, right, in the long term. The entrepreneurs themselves as well as the investors. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Alex.